Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. I want to get in your head for a little bit, so I'm not going to do a lot of introduction. Just going to go straight into the video. I have one condition, one request. Lend me your imagination just for a few minutes because you're going to not be able to follow me in the beginning, but I promise you I'm going somewhere, okay? I want you to picture in your mind a population, let's say very small population. We'll say a population of 100,000 people, okay? Then I want you to take that population and I want you to divide that by 4. Well, we'll be very conservative. So if I take 25%, which is 4 divided by 4, if I take 25% of 100,000 people, I get 25,000 people, okay? I want you to imagine those same 25,000 people in one area, in one rural area, urban area, farming area, agricultural area, industrial area, whatever walk of life they're from, but they're from the same state, i.e. New York, or for the same city like Chicago, like that, right? I want you to imagine those 25,000 people coming together and they're going to make a contribution, a financial contribution. They're not going to give $100 a month. They're not going to give $50 a month. Not 25, not 15, not 10, not 5. They're going to give $1 every 2 weeks. $1 every 2 weeks. So at the end of every 2 weeks, when people normally get their paycheck, these 25,000 people have contributed $1 each for $25,000. In 2 weeks' time, they're going to do the same thing. So that's another 25,000. So we got $50,000 in 1 month. Follow me, okay? Those $50,000, if they stay on that track, they're going to wind up with, I might have to pull a calculator out, but I know that 50,000 times 6 is going to give you 300,000. So they're going to end up with 1,200,000. I got to pull a calculator out. Hold on, because I want to get this math right and I don't want to skew it, because I really what I'm going to say to you is profound. There's our calculator. All right, so I'm going to do the math and we're going to say 50,000 times 12 months. So we got $600,000 a year. $600,000 a year. And I am sure, yeah, well, that's 25,000 people. Imagine 25,000 people. Now, we talk a lot about the legacy that we're going to leave behind for our family, for our children. What do our children have to look forward to? We suffer from basically not having, and this suffering, in my personal opinion, and I'm sure the opinion of many of you are watching, it is perpetuated on us intentionally. See, if I always keep you in a situation where you don't have, and I'm the only one who has, then I have a customer for life. I have a person who will come to me with what he needs, and I can benefit from that monetarily. I will charge you, and I can keep the fee that I charge you so small, because what I lack in large prices, I make up in volume. If I was to sell a cup of coffee for $1 to 25,000 people every single day, if my math is right, that is somewhere to the tune of 25,000. That's about $7.5 million a month for 1 cup of coffee. 1 cup of coffee. And guess what? Not only do I have you 25,000 people as my customer, I also have your children and your children's children and your children's children's children. I have you for generations, okay? I don't need to do anything else. Just keep you from getting your own coffee shop, because some of you are smart enough to understand that, hey, there's a lot of money in the coffee game. If I can get a shop just like this guy, then I can sell coffee and become wealthy too. Oh no, we're not having any of that. We're having none of that. I'm the only coffee game in town. You want the coffee? You come to me. I'm going somewhere with this. I want you to envision those 25,000 people who have saved up $600,000 collectively a year. I want you to envision those people building or buying. Let's say buying, because we're going to start from the bottom up, okay? We're going to, those 25,000 people acquire either they acquire a plot of land. There may be trees on it. There may be it may be flat plains. It may be within a rural area. It might be just outside the city. But they've acquired land, and they've acquired the plot next to it, and the plot next to it, and the plot next to it, and next to that, 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 and next to that. They've acquired this huge swath of land. Just the land. When you own the land, you can do whatever you want. And they acquired these plots of land because if you go online today, this is the kind of society we live in, you can go online and find land that is literally pennies on the dollar. You can buy, and it might be swampland. It might not be inhabitable in terms of its ecological footprint. It might be barren, it might be barren, it might be far away, it might be desolate, but it's land. And the land has multi-purpose uses for it. Okay, so not every piece of land that we buy or that we own, we have to actually grow something on it. We might need that tract of land just for to be able to drill underneath that land and run pipe to potable water that we can drink. Or we might be able to set up some type of sprinkler system or irrigation system, or we might need that plot of land just to build a company, a factory, a barn house, whatever we need the land for. You 25,000 people have acquired that land, right? You saved up $600,000. Of course, some people are going to give more than $1 because they understand the process. They start to understand after the first 2 weeks. They start to understand, wow, in 2 weeks, we have been able to amass $25,000. Let's increase this. But the base is $1. $1. All right. Now you've acquired all this land. Well, I know that we need decent housing. But before we can get the housing, we have to put things in place. In other words, we have to create a neighborhood. So we have to create a neighborhood in which people want to move in that area. So we need stores because we need food to eat. We need clothing stores, dry cleaners, laundromats, clothing stores, even thrift stores, okay? And of course, we're going to need shelter, but we need somewhere to eat, somewhere to sleep, something to eat, and we need some type of financial system, banking system, so we can have our money, so we have access to our money. We need roads, and all these, in other words, we can build, those 25,000 people can build all of that stuff. It's a process, but that process, see, this is $600,000 that you spend. Now you're going to have to you create a budget. How much are we going to pay for the land? How much are we going to cost to knock all the trees down and make the land, livable so that we can build things on it? Once we do that, how much is the construction for the grocery store? And I'm not talking about a mom and pop. I'm talking about a major grocery store, Sam's, Costco type of grocery store. The good thing about these 25,000 people is that within that 25,000 people, we are not talking about your average layman who doesn't know much about much, and he's a simple kind of guy, she's a simple kind of woman. We're talking about within that mixture of people, we're talking about people who are experienced in agriculture. They know farming, they know agriculture. We have business people who understand the process in which business is done, the permits, who to talk to, the connections, and so forth. We have people in that industry that understand the legal process so that we can legally create, i.e. tax shelters and things like this for ourselves, and legally construct these things so that we are the actual owners. Those 25,000 people are the actual owners of that property and all the legalities that go with that. We also have inside of that group, we have people who are merchants. They understand the concept of commerce. We have grocery store owners, small business owners. We have barbershop owners. We have people who are educators. We have professionals. We have bank people, people who work in finance, people who work in education, people who work in medical. Within that 25,000, just within that 25,000, and I'm being very conservative because that 25 came from the 100,000. Stay with me. I'm coming to the point. If you take those 25,000 people and they're on a track at $600,000 a year, those 25,000 people, because this is something of this on a much smaller level is being done in Michigan, I believe, at Minnesota. In Minnesota or Michigan, as we speak, there are people, individual private citizens, who have gotten together and pooled their money together, and they have started to build what they need. One of the problems that we're facing right now is that we have a large dependency for all of our intelligence, for all of our capability, for all of our smarts, for all of our ingenuity, for all of that. We still have an addiction to allowing or waiting for people to do things for us. We wait on them to do things for us. And then we become dissatisfied with what they decided that we left in their hands. We're still allowing the game to be ran on us when we know better. Because we're putting hope on top of hope against hope against hope. We hope it's being done right. We hope we can trust you. We hope that you're trustworthy. We hope that you're not going to scam us. We hope you're not going to take advantage of us. We hope you're going to have our best interests at heart. We hope, we hope, we hope, we hope. And hope is like a hot air balloon. So the more I put in it, the higher it goes. Those 25,000 people over a process of, in as little as, in my estimation, in as little as 5 years, can acquire land. They can build a store. You don't really need a lot to build a grocery store in terms of, it's not as complicated as you might think. Yes, you need the plumbing and the piping and the fixtures and all of that typical stuff, right? It won't take long to build it. It's a simple structure, okay? Here's where the ingenuity pays off, because you have in that 25,000 people, you have contractors, you have brick masons, you have cement masons, you have electricians, you have journeymen, you have qualified people who know, okay, this is what it's going to take. You have architects, you have engineers, you have designers, okay, you have interior designers, then you have merchants who know who to contact to source the things that they need in terms of food, in terms of supplies, in terms of merchandise. I would say around the clock, because you got a $600,000 budget. That means that you can build a structure like this. You can build that structure in a very short period of time with workers working around the clock, making a decent way. So what have you done? Those 25,000 people have created jobs for everybody in every industrial walk of life. You've created employment for them, and you've created round the clock employment. And that means through the rain, through the snow, okay, through the weather conditions permitting, but it's not going to stop. We're going to keep going until it's built. Now you built it. What is the beauty of doing something like this is that you own it. There are no liens, there are no mortgages, there are no monthly payments, there are no installments, there are no 30-year project plans to pay off something. When you build it, it's built. You owe nothing to no one. You built the store. It's a mega store. It's got everything. It's self-sustaining in every kind of way. From the meat to the produce, we'll work the clothing in later. The meat, the produce, the grains, the cereal products, small hair products, and maybe some diaper, baby things and like that, but it's self-sustaining. If you walked in that store, it's a one-stop shop. You could buy everything that you needed to buy and not have to go to another store. Okay, now that's in place. What's the next project? The next project is I need some type of housing, residence. Okay, that's not going to be really difficult. If you figure, and I'm only throwing abstract figures out here just so that we can show you what you're looking at and what could possibly be done. If you take, let's say, you're going to build a 20-unit low rise, because we don't want housing projects, right? You want to build maybe several, let's say several 4 to 5 story apartment complexes. Just 4 to 5 stories, elevator inside, okay, handicap access, solar heating. We've got the money for it. See, every year we're saving 600,000, 600,000, 600,000, 600,000. Once you build the grocery store, here's what's so beautiful about this kind of idea. See, I have learned in my experience that people are very slow to start things. People get on like me and they start talking. We need to do this. We as a people need to do this. We as Black people need to do this. We as Muslims need to do this. We as people need to do this. And then when you say, okay, cool, I'm ready. I got my dollar. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait until I get, because okay, well, you got a good game. You talk a good game, but they slow to start it, but they'll love to join it once it's going. What do you got? You guys built that? Yeah. How much did it cost you? I think to build this store cost us about $1.5 million. Fully stocked. Fixtures, supplies, merchandise, land plot, licenses, plumbing, contracts, sewage, utilities, everything. $2 million. Wow, you guys got that built quick. Yeah, we got it built really fast. I mean, like you guys turning a profit. The idea isn't at this moment, it isn't to turn a profit. Any successful business person is going to take the money that he gets when he first starts his business. As soon as he starts generating profit, he's not going to take, if he's smart and if he's able, he's going to dump a large amount of that profit back into the business, plus the cost. He recouped his cost and then he made his profit. He's going to dump probably at least 75% of that, if not more, back into the business. The business is funding itself now. It's turning a profit. It's generating what we call positive cash flow. So after expenses have been met, every expense you can think of that will possibly be associated with that business has been met. He's got now money left over. This is his profit. He's going to put that back into the business, okay? The reason why that's being able to happen, because we saved for 3 years. In 3 years, we got $1.8 million. That's enough to build a grocery store. That's enough to build a grocery store. It may not be a Sam's Club kind of situation, but when you think about it, I mean, it's something that's just stocked there, and then you have your different devices. The point I'm making is you can build that store in a very short period of time, and people are coming to that store. There's business going on. This place is not sitting empty until you finish the rest of what you're building. You're building a neighborhood. You're building a neighborhood. Food. After you have food, shelter. So we're going to build a series of apartments. Nice, spacious, decent, teched out, furnished apartments. Because most people don't always have the money to go buy brand new furniture, because we want to eliminate the need for you to spend outside of your budget by getting credit and all this stuff. We want to really take that away. The whole idea of this project is that you're getting people who are going to work together to buy things in lump, one big lump. If I am the representative of my group, and my group has a budget of, say, $2 million. When I go to buy this property, I'm not making installments. What are you talking about? I'm not making monthly payments. I don't need, 8.9% financing plus prime. I'm not credit score for what? Credit scores for people who need credit because you don't have the money. So you credit. This word credit, that the first part of that word, C-R-E-D or C-R-E, it's a Latin root, which means trust, honor. So that's the system that it was back then. I take something from you on my honor, then I'm going to pay you when I see you again. Merchants do this all the time. They do it all the time. And there were people who acted as agents for those merchants, and they said, hey, take this piece of paper or my stamp or my seal or whatever it is, show this to the guy that works at the place that you're going to, wherever his location is. And he owes me money. He owes me some type of commodity, something of value. I have a trust with him, a pledge with him that he owes me certain types of something from a product. Okay, you can get some of that product as my payment to you. Just show him this. And when he sees it, he said, okay, This is good. I owe him, for example, 50 bushels of oranges. Okay. I take, say, 250 pounds of iron from you. Okay. I don't have the money for it, but we'll trade. This is how people used to do things before gold became something that we used for trade. We traded commodities. We traded things that were of value. Okay. So how much was that value coming? How much was that value relative to the thing that I was trading? So when that happened, that 25 pounds or 250 pounds of iron might have been worth, say, I don't know, 40 bushels of oranges. So that's how we trade. Show him my mark, show him my seal. When he gets there, he will recognize my seal. He will release 50,000 of those, or 40 of those bushels of oranges to you, and I have a 10 bushel credit with him. Later on, people came up with the device, or the financial device of actual coins or gold or things like this. This is how it's done. So the point I'm making is that if you're buying land, if you're buying anything of value like that, we don't need a credit system. Credit check for what? I'm going to write you a cashier's check, or I'm going to show up with cash in hand. Now let's negotiate, because the price you're selling it for, because I have buying power. That's the price you put it on sale for the people who can't afford it. You said that the land will cost, $500,000 for this whole area, however many acres it is. That's $500,000 to the guy who needs credit. I'm going to take this land off your hands right now at this moment. Before we turn around and walk away from each other, you will have at least $425,000 in your hand, or in your rucksack, whatever you can call it, whatever you can carry. But it's going to be done. The transaction is going to be done completely. I don't need a credit check. You don't need to know if I'm good for it. I'm showing up to you with a cashier's check. I'm good for it. I'm showing up to you with cash. I'm good for it. We don't need that vehicle. So you acquire something like that. And what happens is, once you start to acquire that, then the thing that goes on top of it, in terms of your grocery store, going back to our example, people see that and they say, whoa, you bought all that land out there? Yeah. How long did it take you? A couple of years. That's a 30-year contract. How did you manage to pull that off? Because it's 25,000 of us building an actual future for our children, building something that is going to, that we are creating generational wealth, generational security. It really is. Right now, it's not about money. What good is the money and you have nothing to put that money toward, or you're wasting it chasing interest rates, chasing 401k plans with the maturity rates of this, and the prime and the market and all this stuff, and then the feds with the interest rate. What is all that doing? Even if you do that, that's just for yourself. And I'm not saying you can't make any money on it, but I mean, like, what are you going to put that money toward? Generationally, how is it going to benefit your children and your children's children and the children of everybody in that neighborhood? How does it benefit them? It benefits you. You put in $100 a month, or $100 every 2 weeks for your payday. Your employer matched it at the end of your 25-year, 50-year run with the company. You wind up coming out with $300,000 or $400,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. That's good for you. That's good for you. But what about your children? What about your children's children? What about their children? What about your children's grandchildren? So we leave something generationally that your children can look at that and say, see that grocery store there? My great-grandfather and 249,999 other people, 24,999 other people got together with $1 and built that store. No, I don't believe that. That's impossible. You can't do that. You don't trust the people. Who handled the money? How do we know he's not going to run off? So listen, stop being a naysayer and understand that it's been done. You talking about it, but with the land you're standing on, it's already been paid for. You're standing on paid land that would have taken 30 years minimum to buy. We bought it in 1% of the time. In 1% or 10%, 10% 30, yeah, 10% of the time. 10% of the time. And we didn't take 3 years to buy it, we paid it off. So we saved the money. No month-to-month contracts. We're not getting into any business transactions. We're going to call you when we're actually ready to purchase right now. That's just it. So going back, you build the grocery store. Now you start building the apartments. Okay. nice apartments. The technology is there. It's upgraded. It's not old. It's not dilapidated. The materials are not cheap. Okay, the paint is not lead-based paint, so you don't have to worry about that happening. You've got carpeting everywhere. The place is super livable. It's the kind of place with 25,000 people coming together with these ideas. They're going to bring the sum total of their experiences, which will be their bad experience of what they don't want to see in a living situation, in a housing complex, in an apartment building, in a house. This is what we don't want. So this is what we're going to make sure it actually has, okay? Energy efficient windows for heating and for AC. Decent flooring, solid structures, good solid roofing structures, an efficient piping system, a way to heat the home in a green kind of situation. Solar panels for days, Reduce rates on your utilities if you even have them. Fresh running water, okay? Access, paved roads, and access to major places where you can come in and out of the area. You build a series of these buildings. I'm guessing, I'm throwing stuff out there, okay? You build an apartment complex, a 16-unit apartment complex. Now, the physical structure, you can design it like you like. So you've got your L-shaped structure, you've got your straight vertical structure, then you got your low-rise, wide structure. However you decide to do it, how much land that you want to use to appropriate that, that's what you'll discuss, okay? But it's 16 units. 16 units, okay? So that's 4 units on each floor, or it's 16 units spread completely out, or it's 8 units in this part of the L and then 8 units on this part of the L, but it's 16 units. That's 16 families, okay? And you can turn that into a financial device or an investment device if you want, and you charge for on each of those properties. You charge a reasonable amount. My idea, if I was going to do something like that, I would stay below what the market is, because you make money on the long-term tenant. The place is so nice. It's so modern. It's so clean. It's so safe. It's so energy efficient and everything else involved that you literally have a waiting line to get in that apartment. There's a waiting list. When people find out you live there, you live there? Yeah. Whoa. Are there any openings? No, there's a waiting list. And you keep building those structures around that. Of course, now you need a place of worship. I'm a Muslim, so we're going to build a masjid. We don't need to trick the masjid out. We just need a solid structure, carpet on the floor, AC, all the typical devices, but we don't need all the fancy ornate stuff and stained glass and all that stuff. No, because we're very practical. We just need a place where we can make prostration on the floor. It's clean. It's got good AC in the summertime. It's got good heat in the wintertime. There's maybe some water containers and stuff like that, things of this nature, okay? We can work into a school and all that stuff at a later date. So we've got a place of worship. We've got a shelter situation that is up and also ongoing. I'm going to build as many units in and around that structure as possible. I got a food source there, okay? So I've got a community in the making, and it's all with no monthly payments, with no interest rates attached to it. We are not beholden to anybody. We owe no one a cent. Everything that you are looking at with your eyes is paid for. We need nothing from you. Nothing. We will even organize, we will even train, send people to get trained in defense and security, and we will organize our own police force. Now, I'm not trying to go anarchy and all this other stuff. I'm saying we can create with this tool something that is self-sustained, where we don't need anybody to assist us, to help us in anything. I am not suggesting anarchy. I am not suggesting some type of separatist movement. But what I am suggesting is that we have too much talent and too much capability and too much ability and too much creativity and also too much money to be sitting around and waiting for people to do something for us. The time for that must end, because we have the ability. Our ancestors paved the way for that through being shot up in the streets, hung from trees, having dogs sicked on them, having water hoses turned on them, being discriminated and turned against indecent housing. Okay, no longer do we have to deal with that. No problem. You don't want us to rent in your neighborhood. You want to keep your neighborhood nice and pure as the driven snow. Okay, you want to keep the sunshine in your neighborhood. No problem. We have options now. We have options now. No problem. We have options now. So we're going to get together because the time for that has come. We're tired of being tired. We, as they say, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So if you don't want us to live in your building, we'll go build our own building. You don't want us to live in your neighborhood, we'll build our own neighborhood. You don't want us in your grocery store because you keep following us around and you think we're trying to steal something. And every time we turn around, you look like you're arranging the shelf, but you're watching us. Man, later for that corny stuff. We'll build our own grocery store, so you don't have to worry about that no more. You can keep your neighborhood just as light bright as you like. You can keep it pure as a drip of snow as you like. You can keep the complexion in your neighborhood the exact kind of complexion that you want to keep it in because we don't need to be there. But we all know what'll happen then. You guys will start creeping into our neighborhood, getting curious. We're not going to be like you. We don't need to return that favor. And we're not saying you can't live amongst us. You started that. We didn't start that. You started that. The discrimination laws were because of what you did, not because of what we did. We're just looking for a place to live and a school for our children and a place to put our money in a nice place, a nice area that's habitable so we can relax and enjoy our life. You're the ones that started that you can't live here because of this, that, and the third. We didn't start that. So if you come over on our end, we're not going to reciprocate what you did to us. We don't need to. We don't need to. Okay? And now you see when it gets flipped on its end. When you walk into an area that's already established and now you are petitioning to join that particular thing. Now, what's going to happen? Once you get the land going, once you get the grocery store going, once you get the apartment building, once the apartment gets built, now it's real. People are living there now and thriving. They go to work wherever they work. They come back home out here to our area. It might be a little bit far from the city. It might be a hump. It might be an hour's drive. But the payoff, the crime is near zero. You have your own security force? That's amazing. All of them trained in weapons. Of course, they got to go through some psychological evaluations. We're not just putting any knucklehead who can get a gun in a position like that. And probably most of these guys will be unarmed anyway in terms of lethal weapons. They probably have some stun guns, some mace, a couple of billy clubs or whatever, to defend themselves and also to deal with situations. But we won't need that. A lot of what happens in these streets is because people don't have. And they think you have, and they have a problem with what you have, and they want what you have, so they take it. Or they resort to any kind of means, criminal or immoral, to get that thing because they're looking at you, you have it, they don't, they want it, this is what I'm going to do to get it. Now we don't have that element. I'm not suggesting a utopia. I'm suggesting that when you remove the need, when you remove the idea, when you remove the cloud of or the stigma of an impoverished area, when you remove that poverty element out of it, what you have is a nice, clean society where people are on their honor, where people are, thinking, okay, I need to be the best person I can be because I want that for myself and my children. I can walk out. I live in countries. I have lived in countries that are not the best in terms of the infrastructure and even sometimes maybe in the economic situation. But you can walk out your door at 2 a.m. in the morning. As they say, hand to God, I swear by Allah. You can walk out your house at 2 a.m. in the morning and no one will look, blink, and eye at you. Women and men. So don't tell me it can't be done because I've seen it with my own eyes for the last 15 years. You can forget to lock your front door and wake up and somebody's not standing in your bedroom, standing over your head when you open your eyes. It's not that kind of fun. It's not that kind of vibe in the society because people are on their honor. Why? That's a dishonorable, disgraceful thing. And everybody will make you feel the heat behind it. What's wrong with you? How could you do something like that? You don't have any shame. You don't have any fear of God. What's wrong with you? People will get down on you. They don't have to beat you up. Just the idea that people now, you have lowered their idea, their expectations, and you've lowered the way that they think about you to a degree where you embarrassed yourself. No one's going to take that kind of chance. So he's going to be on his honor. She's going to be on her honor. How many times have I seen this? People drop something, people lose something, people leave their bikes out in front of the place. I'm old enough to know how it was when my mother was growing up and my grandmother and like that before them. They used to tell me these stories. You could leave your bike out, leave the front door wide open. This is like back in the 40s and 50s. Nobody breaking in your house, man. Home invasion, what's that? What's home invasion? What do you mean home invasion? That was a foreign term. What do you mean home? Kicking your door down? Why would you want to do that? Now, I understand that people are going to be people, and you're going to always have a bad egg, a bad element everywhere you go. I do get that. Nothing is going to be perfect, and people aren't perfect. But the amount of that is going to drastically shrink because there won't be a need. Everybody's working, everybody has, people are not going without, nobody is being treated unfairly, nobody's being discriminated against, no one is living in conditions that they really don't want to live in, but they have to live in. It's not like that. If you're there, you want to be there. And if you're there, you can be there. All right, now we got the schools. We have the housing situation set up. We own all the land in the area. Sorry, we have the grocery stores. So we have the food, we got the housing, okay, and we have the land. So what's next now? Now we need to start putting together some type of financial institution because we don't want to be riding back and forth and back and forth. So we build our own banks. There are people in the banking industry who know the banking industry inside and out. We don't have to go to a bank that modifies its way of business to accommodate us. Interest-free checking, interest-free loans, a Sharia compliant this, Sharia compliant. It's not going to be, you don't have to have a Sharia compliant vehicle in that bank because the whole bank is Sharia compliant. We don't do interest here. We have avenues, vehicles that you can invest your money in a lawful, halal, usury-free situation where you can turn a profit. So everything functions as usual without this element of oppression to you in which the bank is taking your money and investing in it. Now, that vehicle may exist, okay, because businesses investing in other businesses, that's how they stay afloat as well, all right? But it's all going to be clean. Nothing that will be prohibited, nothing that is illegal, and that's investigated and audited on a regular basis. So you're not going to slip through the cracks, and if you do, you won't slip for long. So now you've got an institutional, a financial institution set up. So look at your neighborhood now. You've got food, you've got shelter, you've got financial. Now you need a school. Start small. We don't need to build a mega high school. The way I've seen this model in the places I live, they start small. So they start with a little nursery. They call it nursery little kids, like what we call nursery school, right? We call them pre-K, right? So you got pre-K, then you got pre-K1 and pre-K2 or something like that. It was nursery, then KG1, KG2. That's how they do the system. But it's 3 years before they get to first grade, right? So back in the day, they used to have Head Start when I was growing up. So you got your Head Start, then you got your KG1, Kindergarten 1, Kindergarten 2, or pre-K1, pre-K2, right? So now you got that. Those are what you call the sprouts. They call them the sprouts, like the sprouts you put in the ground. The bean sprouts, they grow up when you put them in, because those are your first graders, second graders, third graders for the next coming year. So each one moves up through the ranks. So you have a system of where your children are coming up through the system, and then we just add a grade or two every year. And we own the land. We've got, and the thing about this kind of process is that, let me see how much time I'm using here. Let me see. Okay, I cannot see. Oh, there we are. I don't know how much time I got. See, I don't know, but I'm gonna keep going. So the thing with this kind of process is it doesn't stop as soon as you get one area of land or one thing accomplished. It's ongoing. It's $600,000 every single year. It's $50,000 a month. It's $25,000 a week, every single week into perpetuity. Into perpetuity. Thriving neighborhoods, crap-free neighborhoods, neighborhoods that don't have prostitution, neighborhoods that don't have gambling, neighborhoods that don't have illegal devices set up in the neighborhood because there's no need for it now. This is a wholesome environment here because we're raising our children and our families in these environments. So you can keep your casino. Now, if you like that kind of thing, that's on you. We can't police you, and we're not going to, okay? But you can't bring that here. There's no room for that here. There's no room for that here. This is an actual wholesome family community. I told you earlier, I said that once people find out what you're doing, they want to join. They're slow to get in with you, but they're quick to join. Now, that number inside of 3 or 4 years doubles. Now you got $50,000 a week, $100,000 a month, $1.2 million as an annual budget every year, and everyone is still working. This is not a one-time donation. It's $1. That means it is ultra sustainable. Ultra sustainable. No one can tell me, I don't believe, I refuse to believe that for all of the work that you put in, 40 hours, 60 hours, 30 hours, you could be working at McDonald's part-time for 15 hours a week, making minimum wage of, I think, $7 now, depending on where you live. $7.15, $7.20 an hour, $7.50 an hour, whatever that minimum wage is. You will not be able to convince me that after putting in 15 hours at McDonald's, getting paid every 2 weeks after they whack out what they whack out from your taxes, and you left with $245. You're not going to tell me, you can't convince me, I won't believe you, that after all of that, you don't have $1 left over. I don't believe it. I won't believe it. You're lying. You're lying. If you can go buy a cup of coffee, you got $1. If you can go buy Snickers from the 7-Eleven, you got $1. If you can go buy an ice cream cone from the ice cream truck, you have $1. It's just where did you spend it? You got $1. I know you got $1. You might not have 5. You might not have 10. You might not have 20. 20 is kind of a sweet spot. Most people are like, I'll buy this if it's $8 or $5 or $7 or $10.99. But $20 is kind of like, okay, now I got to make a decision. Do I really need that? This is why you keep that model ultra low, something that is sustainable as long as you're working. Even for people who are on welfare and they get money from the state, because you get that in food stamps, right? You get that in medical, and then you get the cash. They used to call it AFDC, I think it was. Aid something for dependent families or something like that. It was AFDC, right? I don't know what they call it in different states, but from what I remember, it was AFDC. I never had to take it with it at home, but I remember that's what it's called. Or do you call it welfare check? Whatever you want to call it. But the state is giving you money for the time that you need it. Okay, so they break you off, $300. Even if you're not working and you collecting unemployment, I know you got $1. I know you got $1. You're not going to tell me you don't have $1. I know you have $1. You open up a bank account. Then you tell, because this is all above board, you guys. So I'm not talking about something where you just got 25,000 people that are just willy-nilly, okay, let's put our money together for this. No, this is a legal structure. It's an LLC. It's an S corporation with a business account. There's a board of trustees. There are people who are financially responsible for moving that money out. There are stakeholders. We've got 25,000 stakeholders. So you got stakeholders, who you present a financial report to. This is what we took in this month or this quarter. This is what we spent it on. This is what the balance is. This is what our projected balance is. These are the projects that we have going on. It's legal in every state, every type of way that you can make that legal. We've already talked to the attorneys who specialize in corporate finance, in finance. That's his thing. We ain't getting the guy who's a defense attorney because he's so-and-so's cousin. Okay, we're getting the guy that this guy, he understands corporate law. He understands financial law. He understands the tax laws. He understands all this stuff. We shelter that around this guy, and we put this guy on retainer. So if we got issues, we go to this guy. Hey, legally, can we do this? What's our exposure? It's professional in every sense of the word. That, in 5 years' time, in my personal opinion, is going to quadruple the number of participants in one city. I'm not talking about across America. I'm talking about a little area that of otherwise uninhabited land with a bunch of trees and streams or swampland or whatever outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, outside of Florida or wherever it is, out in Oregon, in Colorado, in Ohio, wherever it is, up in the snow in Maine. This can be replicated everywhere. Now you got 1.2 million. That doubles every year, 2.4 million. But as the more people catch on, the more money you have for more projects, you expand. Now, at a point, you're going to stop expanding because you've either maxed out the amount of land that you have, or you've pretty much erected everything you need to erect, because you don't want overcrowding and congestion. You need a place where your children can grow up, where they can get proper schooling. latest technology, the latest books, latest education, so that they can compete in the systems in the colleges in the world, and you can extend that, and you can create your own systems or your own institutions of higher learning. You create your own colleges, you create your own universities, you create your own trade schools, your own community colleges. This is endless. When people see that happening, they want to be a part of that. And it started from just 25,000 people just giving $1. $1. Tell me that you can't do that. Don't tell me you can't do that. People say, well, what can one person do? By yourself, not a lot. But if I put 24,999 other people who says, you know what? Yeah, I got $1. Here, I got $1. $1. Now, some of you are going to say, yeah, that's a good idea, Abu Idris, but who's going to handle the money? We just addressed that. We already addressed that. This is a legal entity. People will be held responsible. There are signatories on these accounts. There are board of trustees. There are people who we craft a, I forget what they call it. I think it's called an order of operations or something like that, of how we're going to manage the day-to-day business, what it's about. There are financial reports that are given. There are public meetings in which we bring you guys together. This is what has been going on with the money, with your contributions. We're not sending no money to, and don't get me wrong, okay? I'm saying this is for our area. So what I'm about to say, it might sound a little coarse, but understand that we have a primary mission. So we're not sending no money to no another country. We ain't sending money to Africa. We ain't trying to feed the kids, not on this front. If you want to do that by yourself, I encourage that. But this particular venture isn't for that. We're not going to get into any kind of high stakes investment. We are all about securing, holding. We secure the land, we hold it. We secure we build our own grocery store, we own it, we hold it. We build residential homes, apartment buildings, single family homes, multifamily homes, gardens, like that. We own that. We buy land for farms and we grow our own stuff as much as we can. We own that. That's for us. The Quakers do it. The Mormons do it. The Puritans do it. Everybody else does it. Why can't we do it? And they're not even 25,000 people. They do it. We don't have to go to the extreme like they go in terms of not, partaking in the society and it's a cult. This ain't no cult, man. We're just trying to find a place where our kids can grow up and actually live to adulthood. Actually live to see their 21st birthday. This is open season on people of color. And it has been for a very long time. It's open season. The life expectancy of most African-American males in particular, not past 18 or 19 years old. If he can get past that, he may have a chance. How many of us, man, how many more mothers we got in the street crying in the street because their baby got shot because he's involved in something he's not supposed to be involved in because he felt like he didn't have any other choice? How many times are we going to be the victim of people who started with us? And I'm going to wrap up because I don't want to go on a tangent. People who started with us. I'm talking about actors, celebrities, famous people who went to the schools we went to, grew up in our neighborhood. We know these guys personally. Some of them we still talk to even though they're famous. And some of them, when they leave, they don't give nothing back. They move out the hood and they take their money with them. And you got a few that'll come back and help every now and again. And some people like, LeBron, they have schools, they build schools, they really are doing things to help the community, But I mean, that percentage is very small. Build the community, not giving a person a handout. When you create an avenue, an atmosphere like that, you exponentially raise your dignity level. There's nothing like feeling self-sufficient. We're not being arrogant, but we're being self-sufficient. I don't need anything right now, but if I do, I'll let you know. But for right now, I'm good. I don't need a business partner. We're good. I know that this might increase my sales, but I'm not worried about that. See, this population, people are going to start moving because who's going to inhabit the land? Most of that place is going to be inhabited by those 25,000 people, a good portion of those 25,000 people. There's the volume of your business right there. You go into a little bitty town, okay? I'm from the city. So for me, a little town is anything under 300,000 people. Under 250,000 people, for me, I call that a small town. It's a city, it's a small city, okay? You got 250,000, you got 25,000 people move into an area. You sell apples. You sell apples at $2 a pound, or $2.50 a pound, or $3 a pound. And you sell a pound of apples to 25,000 people at least once a week when people get their money. So 25,000 times $3, that's 750, 775, that's $75,000 just on apples. You make it up in volume. That's just on apples. Then you sell cereal. See, you can afford to bring your prices low. Number one, we're not competing with anybody. This all goes back into, it's like a co-op. It goes back into the community, okay? Surveillance devices, better security, better roads, like that, building other things. This is a self-sustaining. We don't need nothing from nobody. We're good. We have our own policing system, our own security system, okay? We have people who are going to be community leaders in our neighborhood, but we're going to direct them as to what we want and what we want the direction of our community to go in, not the other way around. So our leaders are not going to have constituents that they are beholden to, that got them in the position that they got them in. We're not going to have that kind of stuff. We're going to try as much as possible to have a corrupt-free type of system. Of course, that's much further down the line. But for right now, we need to leave something to our children. And I need to get to the schools. So the video's running long. Well, we did get to school. We touched on the schools. We need something to leave our children, because right now we're working on borrowed time. All of us. If you're my age or older, you're racing against the clock. You're on a race against the clock. What have we left here? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing but a bunch of videos saying what we need to do. Some picket signs over in the corner when we were protesting again for something. Somebody said something that we didn't like, somebody did something we didn't like again. So we put that up, and then we just painted over that sign, and we made another sign. And we're good for protesting and picketing. It doesn't require much action. It doesn't require much action. But $1 a week, $1 a month, doable. Let's put something together like that. Just imagine 25,000 people, $1, $25,000 every 2 weeks. Compound that. It can be done. It can be done. And it's time that it has been done. Now, I'm going to end with this. I've made videos of this nature before, and nobody, I get maybe 5, 6 people who say, oh, that was real nice. Maybe I'll reward you. Okay. I mean, that's as far as it goes. However, I do believe that if you keep saying something long enough, eventually it's going to take hold. And I don't believe in all that universe stuff. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the universe is going to bring into existence. Man, shut up with that. That's corny. That's that hope in the sky stuff that you acquire from people who want you to keep thinking like that. It is God, and always has been God, who's going to make things happen. Period. You keep doing it. If you keep talking about it, eventually somebody's going to say, you know what? I came across a video that you did the other week, and I got some people that thinks the same way. They think the same way. I think we really need to get together and do something. And you're going to start out small. It's going to be like 10 of you. Right? It's going to be 10 people put together $1 a week. But we're going to keep talking about this. And after 10 people, it's going to go to 17 people, then 25 people, then 100 people. Now, at 100 people at $1 a month, $1 a week, basically $2 a month. At $2 a month, and you do this for 6, 7, 8, 10 months, 2 years, that's going to pick up traction. What are you guys doing again? What's your group called again? Okay, like this an application. How do I join? People start to see that because people like consistency. And as long as you can be consistent, your numbers will grow. Your numbers will grow. Be honest, don't get greedy, and be consistent. And fear God, because you're dealing with people's money. And you'll be asked about that. You'll be held accountable on the day that you meet him, on the day of judgment. And that is real. That is real. So I'll keep doing this for as long as the law allows me to do this. hopefully somebody will inbox me, get in contact with me. Hey, let's get started. It's just 2 of us. We've been doing it for 6 months. It's just 2 of us at $1 each. But eventually, 2 more people are going to see this, and another 6, and another 12, and another 15 like that, and it's going to grow. So I don't expect 25,000 people at this very moment at the end of this video go, you know what? Let's do it. No. And also, well, I won't go on. I'll make another video. But that's it, you guys. So let's think about this. Let's really think about this. It can be done, even if we start out with just a few people. Okay. Every mountain is made up of individual pieces of dirt. Individual pieces of dirt. Every beach that you see for miles around, it all consists of individual grains of sand. But one grain of sand don't make a beach. One seed doesn't make a tree. One grain of dirt doesn't make soil to grow things on. It's when you add that together. So that's it. I'm going to stop here. If you want to contact me, hit me in the DM. Let's get it going. I say what I have said, and I ask Allah's forgiveness for myself and for you. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon those who follow right guidance. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.